Our story kicks off in a Navy boardroom, with a nameplate that reads, Commander Thomas Dodge. This guy's sharp, graduated third in his class at sub school, aced advanced training, and has a rep for being top-notch. But wait, there's more. He was a rock star in NATO war games, getting props for his killer tactical skills. Everyone pegged him as a future star commander. Only problem? His reputation. Dodge has a history of wild stunts. Like that time he bumped into a Russian sub near their Murmansk port 3 years back. Oh, and let's not forget the shore leave where he got plastered and tattooed. Welcome aboard! In a very private spot. Yeah, stuff like that makes the higher-ups nervous. In the meeting, one officer pipes up, all fired up. This is Dodge's third shot at commanding a sub. If we don't give him a chance now, we're gonna lose him from the program for good. That's a huge blow for the Navy and for him. This is why Admiral Graham's dead set against handing Dodge a sub. He's like, no way we're trusting a billion-dollar machine to a guy with a welcome aboard tattoo down there. But Admiral Winslow? He sees something in Dodge, flaws and all, and decides to give him one last shot. Meanwhile, Dodge is off playing golf with some Navy buddies on the USS Orlando. A message hits his inbox. Head to Norfolk ASAP to take command of your own sub. Dodge is over the moon, like his dreams are finally coming true. But that high doesn't last. When he checks out his new sub, he's floored. It's the Stingray SS-161, a creaky old diesel sub from the 50s, last touched up in '58. And diesel? The Navy hasn't rolled with those in forever. He stares at the Admiral, dumbfounded, and goes, This is my sub? This? A diesel clunker? The Navy doesn't even use these anymore. The Admiral just grins and says, Yup, that's her. The Navy's bringing her back, and you're the guy to run her. Dodge wants to argue, but he knows it's this or nothing. Turn it down, and his dreams toast. So he bites his tongue and takes the gig. A few hours later, he's in the control room, ready to meet his crew. But when they show up, he's like, this is gonna be rough. The crew's a total circus, each one weirder than the last. Martin Pascal, a wound-up executive officer who's obsessed with rules and yells way too loud. Stanley Spots Sylvesterson, a sailor who bets on everything, even lost his boots in a dumb wager. Sonar, a sound tech who picks up every little noise. Brad Stepanek, an engine mechanic, total rebel, always starting trouble. Nitro, an electrician who's half crazy from messing with wires. Jackson, a jock used to play basketball. Then there's Lieutenant Emily Lake, the dive officer, part of a trial to see if women can hack it on subs. The all-guy crew's jaws drop when she shows up. Dodge even mistakes her for a stripper at first, but she shuts that down quick, saying she's here on Admiral Graham's orders. Later, Dodge stands in front of the crew and lays it down. Listen up, guys. Lieutenant Lake's part of a new program to test women on subs. She's one of us, our dive officer, so treat her with respect and keep it pro. But the crew's not exactly thrilled about the change. Some start muttering and chuckling until Dodge shuts it down hard. I'm not here for any nonsense. We're a team. Anyone steps out of line, I'll deal with it my way. Later, Dodge meets with Admiral Winslow, who breaks down the mission. The Navy's freaked about old diesel subs Russia's selling to countries like Iran, Iraq, and Libya. The job? Test the Navy's defenses against these relics in a war game. Winslow spells it out. You're gonna fix up the Stingray and take her out off the Atlantic coast for some war games. One beat-up diesel sub against our nuclear Navy. The mission's to sneak into Charleston Harbor first, and if that works, sink ships at Norfolk's naval base. All pretend, obviously. Dodge thinks it's a long shot but makes a deal. If he pulls off both, he wants a nuclear sub of his own. Winslow nods, kinda unofficially, tosses him 2 real torpedoes, and drops some advice. Forget the rulebook, think like a pirate. Next day, the crew starts razzying Emily. In a funny bit at the base before they board, they swipe her clothes from her locker as a prank. So Emily rolls up the next day in a skin-tight jumpsuit. No bra, 'cause it's all she's got. Everyone's gawking, and Dodge cracks. Either you picked the wrong size, or someone's messing with you. He barks at the crew. Who pulled this? Fess up, or no shore leave tonight. Nobody owns up, so Dodge sends everyone back to the sub to prep for the dive. Emily struts off, owning it like a champ. Totally hilarious. Now it's time for the Stingray SS-161's first dive. The vibe's intense. Everyone's itching to prove themselves. Dodge is in the control room, Emily by his side, pushing to show she fits in despite some side-eye from the crew. Dodge calls out. Get this sub ready to dive. Pascal, all hyped, yells back. Aye, sir. Prepping to dive. Dodge leans over to Emily and teases. You ever dived a real sub? Like not by accident? Emily grins, cool as ice, and says, Over 300 dives in the simulator, 75 in rough currents. I was the best in my class. Dodge smirks, raising an eyebrow. Better than me? Emily doesn't miss a beat. Yup, sir, got your scores printed out to prove it. Dodge decides to put her to the test for real, he shouts. All right, crew. Let's take this thing deep. Orders fly, machines crank up, and the crew's pumped. But then the sub starts tilting weirdly. Alarms go off, and voices get loud. What's going on? She's listing 12 degrees to starboard, sir. Dodge checks the controls and snaps. Check every emergency vent, one guy shouts. Panel says all vents are open, but... Dodge cuts him off. No way, one's gotta be stuck. Find it. All eyes land on Emily, who's scanning the readings like lightning. She calls out. Vent 2 Bravo's closed, sir. Dodge tells her to open it, stat. She does, and the sub levels out. Everyone exhales, but it's not over. Dodge looks at Emily and says, dead serious. That was no sim, that was real. You ready to keep going? Emily, still rattled but steady, says, Hell yeah, sir, let's hit 500 feet. The sub dives deeper, tension cranking up with every foot. But when they reach 500, Dodge grins and says, Hell yeah! That's how you dive. Now the real games begin. Dodge pulls some genius moves to dodge the Navy, aiming to slip into Charleston Harbor without the USS Orlando, led by Captain Knox, spotting them. In the first move, sonar picks up something close. Dodge, channeling his inner pirate, tells Jackson to slap a light on the periscope. They pop up in rough waves, flip on the sub's lights to look like a fishing boat. The Orlando rolls up, thinks it's just drunk fishermen, and peels out annoyed. Dodge jumps on the chance, sneaks into Charleston Harbor, and pops a flare into the sky. Admiral Graham's pissed, can't believe it went down like that, so he bends the rules behind Winslow's back, cuts the game zone in half and doubles the ships hunting the Stingray. In another chase, with the Orlando hot on their tail, Dodge goes bold. He drops the sub to the ocean floor to hide. Emily's freaking a bit, saying, I didn't train for this. Dodge calms her. You're good for it. They sink to 300 feet, kill the engines, and goes silent. Everyone's holding their breath, until the cook lets out a massive fart, making the crew gag. Dodge tells sonar to mimic whale sounds. Knox hears it, thinks they've been chasing whales, and bails. Dodge nails the test again, mission cleared. Now the big one hits. Martin Pascal, the uptight exec officer, storms up to Dodge, fuming. Sir, we're way outside the approved zone and cut off from command. This breaks Graham's orders. Dodge stays cool and says, I get it, but you see another way out? Pascal's not having it and pulls a wild move. He steps up and says in front of everyone, I'm demanding you hand over command to me, right now. The room goes dead quiet. A mutiny? On a sub? Dodge gives a half smile, voice low but sharp. Give command to you? Pascal doubles down. Yeah, sir, as exec, it's my job to keep this sub safe. Dodge looks at the crew and says, You heard him. Anyone backing Pascal, wanting me out? Speak up now, no consequences. Total silence. Nobody moves. Dodge nods and says, All right, Pascal, you're officially charged with trying to mutiny. Then, for laughs, Dodge goes full pirate mode. He makes Pascal walk the plank, like some old-school pirate flick. Sonar cranks dramatic music, and the crew chants, Yo-ho, toss him overboard. Pascal's losing it. Are you all nuts? This isn't a pirate ship. He thinks he's getting dumped in the ocean, but when he falls, he lands on a fishing boat. The crew's cracking up at his expense. Now we hit the final, do-or-die maneuver. Dodge, off the grid from command, knows every step's gotta be perfect. He heads for Norfolk, even with a fleet blockade, 15 warships, destroyers, and frigates, lined up like a fortress. Graham himself jumps on the Orlando, hell-bent on nabbing Dodge to prove he's a screw-up. Dodge rallies the crew. All right, this is it, the toughest test yet. To hit Norfolk, we gotta slip through this blockade, and we've got one shot. He checks the radar and adds, There's a huge oil tanker passing through. We're gonna slide right under it to stay off their screens. Emily's up now. She eyes the screen, nervous, and says, "Sir, this move's insane. I've never done it in real water." Dodge leans in, steady. "Emily, you're the only one who can nail this. You've run it a ton in the sim. This is your time." Emily takes a deep breath, locks in, and says, "Okay, let's do it." The sub inches toward the tanker. 100 yards. 50. 10 from the props. The water's churning like crazy, and steering's a nightmare. Emily shouts, "Adjust the angle. 1 degree starboard." A crew guy pushes back. "No, we need port to avoid crashing." Emily holds firm. "I'm calling it, starboard." The crew follows, and the sub glides under the tanker, totally invisible. The crew goes wild, and Dodge looks at Emily. "Damn fine work, Lake." "You showed em." Graham's floored when Dodge's sub vanishes from sonar, clueless how it happened. The Stingray hits torpedo range, still hidden, and Dodge fires the 2 live torpedoes at the fake target ship, just as the Orlando finally pings them and locks on. The torpedoes nail the target, wrapping the mission seconds before the Stingray goes down. In the game, Graham's got nothing to say. It's a straight-up win for a crew everyone wrote off as losers. The team's losing their minds, can't believe they pulled it off. Back at the base, Admiral Winslow slaps Dodge on the back for his epic win, and chews out Graham for playing dirty. Dodge gets bumped up to captain and scores command of a shiny new Seawolf-class nuclear sub. When they offer him a real crew for his new gig, Dodge throws everyone for a loop. He wants to keep his band of misfits, giving props to their one-of-a-kind skills and loyalty. Winslow's cool with it and drops a shocker. Stepanek, the rebel mechanic? He's Winslow's kid, using his mom's last name to dodge nepotism vibes. In the last scene, Emily sidles up to Dodge and asks what everyone's been dying to know. "So, what's the deal with that tattoo I keep hearing about?" The answer? Left to our imagination as the credits hit. Finally, Down Periscope isn't just some Navy comedy. It's about finding gold in people everyone else tossed aside. Commander Tom Dodge took a crew of oddballs and a rusty old sub nobody wanted and turned them into a squad that outplayed the Navy's best. Sometimes, you just gotta think like a pirate. If you dug this video, smash that like button and hit subscribe. Catch ya later.